What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing the MacFox X1 electric bike. This is a $1,000 Super 73 style bike and we are excited to test it out.
This is also a MacFox. It's called the X2 and it costs $1,700. And in this video, we're gonna be comparing both and seeing which one is right for you.
If you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. All right guys, we got both of these MacFox bikes assembled. Didn't take too long, wasn't too much work. Pretty straightforward process, and they give you some good instructions and basically a charger. That's all you're gonna get with these. Once they're assembled, you'll be good to go. So we're gonna go over the X1 specs and then we'll move over to the more expensive, more powerful X2. So to start, we are running a 500 watt rear hub motor, 750 watt peak power, 25 mile an hour top speed. We have a 48 volt, 10 amp hour battery. This takes roughly 5 to 6 hours to charge. We have a simple screen here that has a couple different riding modes, eco, mid, and high. We also have a headlight that you can toggle on and off right here. Kind of a fancy looking headlight. We'll be curious to test that at night. I did like how all the wiring is nicely wrapped and kept safe all throughout the bike. We have cable actuated disc brakes. You do have a kickstand as well, and these nice chunky tires that are going to do well off-road and on-road and provide a little bit of cushion. This bike does not have rear suspension, but it does have some front suspension. So we'll be curious to try that out on the road to see if it takes the edge off of those bumps. Okay, now let's move over to the MacFox X2. So that bike was $1,000. This bike goes up to $1,700. Then you can also option it with a double battery and a few extra accessories on top of that price. What you get for your extra money is essentially nicer parts, more powerful motor, bigger battery. So we're getting a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery. So basically double the capacity. That's going to increase your range as well. We have a 750 watt larger rear hub motor with 1,000 watts of peak power. We also have a derailleur with a 7-speed shifting functionality up here on the handlebars, so you can always be in that correct gear if you're pedaling the bike. Twist throttle, we have a little bit of a bigger, brighter screen here that still has those different power levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 power modes. We have a headlight you can toggle on and off. This also has a daytime running and a high beam, which is nice. We also have turn signals, so I can show you guys these turn signals. They also do a turn signal here on the back, and this is also a brake light. So when I pull the brake there, you can see that it is actuating. That's gonna keep you safer out on the road. So this bike, all in all, is just a nicer bike. It also has hydraulic disc brakes instead of cable actuated like on the X1 model. The battery on both of these bikes is also removable. They give you a key and you can pop it into a slot right here on each bike. Go ahead and toggle your battery off, which is kind of a nice feature. So twist your key and you can easily slide it right off. You can charge the bike with the battery on the bike or the battery off, and you can also see your state of charge with a little LED sequence. I think your battery has to be on. There we go. So you can see your sequence on there, see roughly what your state of charge is, and you can just very quickly pop it right back on. And because our battery was on, our light turned back on, and then to turn the bike on, you have to hold the power button right here, and you will come on, be ready to go. One thing we did notice about the battery on the X2, because it's larger and heavier, the mechanism that actually holds it isn't super sturdy. I think the added weight just makes it a little bit more rattly, This bike has, I think, the same system holding it, but because the battery is smaller and lighter, it doesn't rattle or wobble near as much. That's one thing to keep in mind. We'll see how it performs out on the road. This bike also, I forgot to mention, has rear suspension where the X1 doesn't. It also has much higher end front suspension. It has compression adjustment and also preload adjustment, which is going to make it a little bit higher end, more adjustable than the fork on the X1. Now that we've gone over all the boring specs, we got the bikes assembled, it's time to get out and ride them. So me and Alex are gonna take turns on both these bikes. We're gonna compare them, see how they hold up, see if we think they're worth each of their price points, and see which one might be best for you. Let's head out on a ride. All right, you guys, we are out riding on the two MacFox bikes. I am on the X2. So I'm on the more powerful, more expensive one, and Alex behind me is on the X1. So we'll kind of be starting off this way, and then maybe a little bit later on we'll trade and kind of give our thoughts on each bike. Reed's gonna get some rollers of us as we ride, and we're wearing our full face helmets and our moto gear and our winter coats because it's like 31 degrees out right now. It's already pretty much just straight up winter in Utah. There's just not much snow yet on the ground. But we're gonna give you guys our thoughts on these bikes because they're pretty sweet, and I think for the money, they're actually really fun. For $1,700 you get on the X2, you're getting a decent top speed of 28 miles an hour. You can also pedal. It does have gears that you can shift. So if you really want to just ride it like a normal bike, you can totally just do that. It's not super heavy. The hydraulic brakes so far feel good. I'm able to brake pretty hard, and the lever feel is really nice. I like a lot that they use a twist throttle like a motorcycle instead of a trigger throttle or a thumb throttle. A lot of people will think this is a little weird, but coming from someone who rides motorcycles with this kind of throttle, it's really nice. This is what these bikes are for, you guys. Just cruising with your buddies, cruising around the neighborhood, having fun. I think you could totally take these bikes off-road as well. This one will be a little bit better because it does have the rear suspension and a better front fork. We're cruising at a pretty good speed here. This is not bad at all. Our speedo says I'm doing 25. I can pass Alex.
Okay, it's Alex on the MacFox X1, and so far I'm having a pretty nice ride. I really enjoy having the very simple control center up front. You basically only have that screen to change your modes and your headlight switch over here. I really like that this throttle is a full grip throttle. You're able to grip that throttle with your whole hand, and on the other model it's only a half throttle because it has the gears. I feel like I like this quite a bit better. The cable actuated brakes seem to be doing just fine. I will say that the short ride I had on the MacFox X2, those brakes felt quite a bit better. So this bike does not have that rear suspension, and you can definitely feel it. The bumps go pretty hard on the back. I would say that the big tires are helping quite a bit, but this front end suspension I feel like is doing pretty dang good for not having any adjustment, just there to sort of take the edge off, make for a slightly smoother ride. So far the seat has been very comfortable. I will say that you could probably fit 2 people on here pretty comfortably as long as you're coming in under that 260 weight limit of this bike. I'm excited to try the X2 on a longer street ride because I want to see if those upgraded parts that come on it are worth it, or if this model is the best bang for your buck, because this is doing pretty good.
So far this X2 is feeling really nice. It's very planted, but also like playful. You can bounce around on it. The throttle is nice and smooth. Let's see how the shifting does. Yeah, shifting is nice. It also has pedal assist, so you don't actually have to do your throttle. You can just pedal and it will kick in power at the same time. So I'm just pedaling now. I'm not doing the throttle, but I'm ripping. I can feel that you have to hit a consistent RPM, like you have to spin your legs fast enough and then it will add in the power for you, or you can stop pedaling and just use your throttle.
Okay, Lance just passed me. He's got the faster X2 bike. So that bike has the 1000 watt max motor, and my bike only has 750 watt max motor. And it seems like his has quite a bit more torque than mine.
This bike is really plenty fast to like commute on too. You know, you got to stay to the side of the road, but you can totally really cruise at a good speed. I mean, we're just cruising at 25.
Hey guys, Lance and I are gonna race. I'm on the X1, Lance is on the faster X2. Let's see how well this bike does compared to that one.
Yeah, we're very similar weights, so let's see how it goes. Ready, set, go.
Okay, we're only using the throttle mode. Right off the line, I was keeping up with Lance, but he's very quickly beating me. That is not too bad. I just realized that it might look goofy for you guys watching at home because we're wearing full face helmets. I would definitely feel comfortable wearing just a bicycle helmet riding these. It's just so cold here in Utah right now that I feel much warmer wearing this full face helmet, and I don't think I could even go outside wearing that bicycle helmet.
Okay guys, I'm getting off the X2 and onto the X1. We'll see how the slightly slower, less expensive bike feels compared to the nicer bike. We'll give it a try here. Right away, I really like how this is a full twist throttle instead of just a short twist throttle. Okay. I do notice that the steering is really tight on this bike. It's probably not necessarily supposed to be like that. It just is in our case of this bike. So we might have to grease that up and make it a little bit softer. It is pretty stiff. The other bike felt normal, this one just feels stiff. This really doesn't really feel any slower than the other bike, like just a little bit, and I'm finding myself only hitting closer to 20 miles an hour, and that one was showing 25 most of the time when I was pinned and going a little bit faster top speed. This screen is still easy to read. It is smaller, but it's doable. The one thing I think you will sacrifice most with this bike is that it only has a 10 amp hour battery, so as opposed to the 20 amp hour battery in the X2, so you're gonna get realistically about half of the range. So that's a significant decrease in range. I don't know what that range is, but it's gonna be a lot less than the X2. The brakes still feel good. They don't feel as good, but for $1,000, this is a pretty sweet bike. I like it.
Okay, I just hopped on the X2 and I need to test out some of the features that extra $700 price gets you. So far, it feels quite a bit smoother. The way that the power engages and the way that the throttle pulls is very, very smooth. I really like that this bike has gears for you to choose from. That really helps when deciding what speed you want to be going and where you're able to ride. It has quite a bit more features like the turn signals and the headlight bright switch. One thing I would say that I like about the cheaper model is that it has the full throttle. Ooh, right away. I'm loving these brakes. Compared to those cable actuated brakes, these are very, very good.
Okay, we're gonna do another drag race. I am now on the X1, Alex is on the X2. We swapped bikes. Let's get it going. On your mark, get set, go. Oh, this acceleration is a little slower. He's launching me. All right, he got me by quite a bit.
Okay, I'm really enjoying this bike, but I'm not sure it's worth that $700 price difference.
I was kind of thinking that for a minute because this bike doesn't feel that much slower once you're actually moving. But I think in that drag race we just did, the acceleration was quite a bit slower. And I was thinking about the range because these bikes, you don't want to be done riding when the battery's dead necessarily. And so this battery has twice as much capacity, so it's going to go twice as far.
That's true.
So that's one thing I was thinking about. I don't know, this bike is a great bike for $1,000, but for $700 more, you do get a bigger battery, a faster bike, better brakes, you get the turn signals. I think they're nicely priced and good, you know, differences to be able to justify each. You know, if you need a simple bike, you only have $1,000, it's going to be a good bike. If you have $1,700 to spend, get yourself the X2 because it is a better bike all around. I definitely agree. Especially if you're going to use it. You know, that's kind of my take on it. But when you just swap right over, they feel pretty similar once you're up to speed.
I definitely feel more comfortable going faster on this bike. It feels more planted, and I think that the rear suspension really takes the edge off when you're on the road going over some of these smaller bumps. I love that MacFox allows you to buy a second battery that can mount up to basically double your range if you spend the extra money. I believe it's $400 for an extra battery on this X2 and $300 extra for the battery on the X1. If I was to buy either one of these bikes, I would definitely go for that double battery option. That is going to be an extra price, but nothing beats that extra range that you get.
I wanted to add that if you guys have seen another brand that has similar looking bikes to MacFox, you've probably seen Super 73. Those bikes are going to be pretty comparable to these, but at a more expensive price point. That's kind of the name brand that you're looking at is Super 73, and we've owned some of those. We owned one of the lower end versions and also the very highest end version that they made, which was like $3,600 retail. And that X2 is actually very similar. I would say the Super 73 probably had a little bit higher quality and the battery lasted a little bit longer. But all in all, for double the price, it was definitely not worth it over the X2. So we're pretty happy with these MacFox bikes, like being a great value for what you're getting. And to be able to get over 20 miles an hour is great too, because some of those Super 73s are limited to 20 miles an hour and they just are more expensive. Okay, we're gonna head back to the house and do a recap on our final thoughts on both these bikes, let you guys know what we recommend. All right, you guys, we just made it back from our first ride on these MacFox bikes, the X1 and the X2. Me and Alex were very impressed with how they rode and the price points for what you get. We think that they are a very competitive buy, and if you guys are interested in either of these bikes, check that link in our description. Head on over to MacFox's website, get you guys a deal right now, and get out on the road and ride just like us. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. We're growing our channel. We'll catch you next video. See ya.